All right, everybody, welcome to a live walkthrough slash demonstration of Redtail Speak. A lot of people are asking, what is Redtail Speak? Well, as you all probably well know, communication is constantly evolving. It's a constantly evolving medium. We have found different ways to communicate with people over the years that are just constantly getting faster and more efficient. Whether we started all the way back at smoke signals, and then we moved to carrier pigeons, and then letters, and then telegrams, and then phone calls, faxes, emails, cloud sharing. And one of the most popular ways to communicate nowadays, whether you're young, whether you're old, is texting. Unfortunately, sometimes the rules and regulations of the financial services industry, they don't really evolve at the pace that the technology does. Well, Redtail wanted to evolve. We figured it's about time that we evolve, that we do something new. And we wanted to evolve the way that you communicate with your clients and your clients communicate with you. And so with that, we'd like to introduce y'all to Redtail Speak. Now, Redtail Speak is a first of its kind integrated multi-user messaging platform that is specifically built for advisors, for their staff, and for their clients. And the design of Redtail Speak is to allow all of your communications to be done within Redtail CRM. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my top right-hand corner inside of my CRM here, and I'm actually going to click the little icon that says Speak, and that actually opens up the Speak tool within my Redtail CRM. Speak is a tool designed to allow you to chat, whether it be internal with your Redtail users, but also externally with your clients via text message. Currently, Redtail Speak is only available to Redtail CRM users. So you have to be a Redtail CRM user in order to be using Redtail Speak. There are three ways to communicate with Redtail Speak. There are basically three areas in Speak that you want to pay attention to. And first are the team rooms. Team rooms are direct messages to other users. And these are those one-on-one conversations between Redtail users on your database. They allow you to have private communications with your team members, so you can actually go in and you can have a conversation and you can actually say, I need your reports from this week or whatever, as soon as you can. Whatever it may be, literally just internal communication. I press enter, and that's going to go ahead and go right to Jeremy. So that's the first sort of room, if you will, are your one-on-one team rooms. The second sort of area that you have are called your group rooms or your public rooms. And public rooms are for internal staff communication as well, but it's all about creating different rooms for specific purposes to focus that staff communication. So do you have a client service team? Do you have a shared assistant between two advisors? You can create whatever rooms that you want and have others join them, as they prefer. We can actually go in and have other people join these rooms. And we also have the general room. The general room is for everybody. And you'll notice that, when we get to it, you can upload GIFs, you have emojis, you can upload files all into Speak. All right. Now, in order to look for public rooms, you can actually look and see what public rooms are open, what public rooms you are not a part of. So we can go to the water cooler room and I can say, internal conversation, whatever it may be, what's going on in the office today. Of course, I'm keeping it very white bread, and I'm not doing anything too complex here. But the idea is that it shows you every room that you are a part of. And if you want to exit that room, you can just go ahead and close out of it. No problem. Last but certainly not least, one of the most groundbreaking parts of Speak is your ability to directly communicate with your clients, all from within your CRM. And basically what it does is it allows you to find a client. So if I want to search for clients such as, let's say, oh boy, I want to search for Marty McFly. I can actually do a search for all the McFlys in my office here, and I can find, a phone number of those people who do have phone numbers, and I can choose to invite them to Redtail Speak just by clicking invite. Now, we're going to get into the invite process in just a little bit here, but the idea is that the client receives a text invite and that they have to opt in. They basically have to give consent for you to be able to trade text messages back and forth. All they have to do is reply with a yes, and then they're in, and then you can talk back and forth here. Let me open up a page that has a little bit more communication. And this is all communication within our client. One of the really cool parts about these client rooms is that you can even have multiple staff members as part of these rooms as well. So if you want to, you can have an assistant as part of this chat. You can have other advisors as part of this chat. Again, if you'd like, and it allows you to communicate back with those clients quickly and easily. Now, the big thing is that these conversations, they can be open to people that you invite, or they can be permissioned off using the permissions in your CRM. So if Lewis Dobbs has permissions that only certain people can see it, like Jeremy and Ricky Redtail, well, then Jeremy and Ricky Redtail are the only people who are going to be able to see that conversation. Now, let's talk about getting started. All right. Obviously, being able to talk with people is great, but we want to set it up, right? With Speak, you actually get to pick a completely different compliant phone number to utilize for messaging clients. You actually find that by clicking on your name in the top right-hand corner, or I guess in the middle of the browser here now, and we click Speak Preferences. And that's going to open up a number of preferences for us to be able to fill out. With Speak, you actually, like I said, you get to pick a completely different compliant phone number. Essentially what happens is you get to choose your area code, and then you get a list of 30 leasable numbers that you can pick from. So you don't get to type in the actual, number. You don't get to use your text message number, your normal phone number. This is a completely different phone number that is going to be utilized by your clients to message you right here in your browser. Now, what's really cool is that you also have the ability to receive text messages from Speak when you have awaiting messages. So you can type in your existing phone number right here. And then if you're away from your browser, if you're closed, if you're not logged into your CRM, then what it's going to do is it's going to send you a text message letting you know that, hey, you have messages, right? Once you select this phone number, this is your dedicated phone number for all client text messages. Now, once that number is selected, I can set up a conversation with a client by going to that plus symbol, as I showed you, adding a client number, and then actually clicking that invite. Now, what happens is that they get that invite message. The biggest thing, actually, before we even talk about getting that invite message, I do have to point out that your client does need to have a cell phone number or they're not going to receive your invite. This does need to go to an actual mobile phone number that is able to receive texts. I know that seems like something that's just common knowledge, but I wanted to point it out nonetheless. So before you can actually text back and forth with a client, they have to consent to receiving those messages. And what happens is when you initially text them, when I initially invited Marty McFly to this text channel, he's going to get an invitation, and you actually have the ability to write in a invite message. Now, if I delete this, you'll see that, hey, I've been invited to a Redtail Speak session with your financial advisor. This is all default, but I can put that all right back in there, and you see how it replaced that default message. They are going to get that default message, and they are going to have to text yes if they want to connect. Now, as we are in the preferences here, I want to point out a couple of other things about the preferences here. You can choose whether or not you want to receive those text notifications when you are not in your browser. You're going to have to click yes in order to receive those notifications. You can also choose to receive browser notifications for new messages. So it's actually going to wake you up. It's actually going to let you know that, hey, you have messages. They are available. They do need to be read. Something to consider for sure. All right. And then you always want to make sure that you save those preferences. One other thing that I want to note is the client does all of their communication through texting, just like normal, just like they're texting their cousin or their kid or their brother. They don't have to do any installation or any setup needed for them whatsoever. For advisors, for users of Speak, what you're going to do is you're going to be accessing Speak currently through your Redtail CRM, but we are in the process of getting ready to release a mobile app so that obviously advisors and staff members can use their smartphone, their mobile device to communicate, just like other chat applications like WhatsApp or even Slack. All right. Now, I want to go and I want to show you how to use Speak. It's not completely complex, but I do want to mention that you can send text messages. You can send emojis, documents, images, all things like that. So if I want to go and I want to type in, an emoji, I can actually type in a colon, and then I can type in like laugh. And you see how it finds the emojis for me here? Rolling on the floor laughing. So we go ahead and we'll send that. We can actually send that out. Now, obviously, you wouldn't just send them an emoji, hopefully. But the idea is that they could receive that emoji, and then they can text back to you right away. They can just see that and they can say, looks like you're having a good day, right? Looks like you're having a good day. And then that communication, all misspellings and everything, is actually going to come through your browser right there. All right. So you can send those text messages. You can send those emojis. You can upload documents and images and GIFs as well. Keep in mind, though, that a message cannot exceed 10 megabytes. That includes attachments. So you can't send 10-minute videos. You can't send 30-page documents. It's got to be underneath 10 megabytes. So keep that in mind as well. The other thing that we've built into Redtail Speak is your little friend that we call SpeakBot. And SpeakBot is basically there's Jeremy. Jeremy, part of our conversation here, actually communicating with the client. Going back to SpeakBot here, what they are is they are hash commands. By typing in a hashtag symbol, you're going to get a list of commands that are going to save you time on finding information when you're talking with a client. Right now, we only see that we have Riskalyze turned on as a partner SpeakBot integration. But as we roll out more SpeakBot functions, you're going to be able to pull things like integration information from Orion. It's also going to allow you to do things like do a hashtag schedule or a hashtag notes, things like that, so that you can actually schedule an appointment from within Speak as well, which is really, really cool. And again, we don't have a full list of them right now, but we are adding more and more as we speak. As far as notifications go, you're notified in 3 different ways when you have Speak messages. First and foremost, the toolbar at the top, you already see that we're going to have unread messages. It gives us a notification when we have unread messages, and then we can actually go in and we can see who or where that unread message lies. So we see that unread message is there in our conversation with Jeremy. Jeremy's going to hit some items, but he's going to get it. He's going to get our conversation in place. He's going to get those reports. I'm going to go ahead and tell him that sounds good. No problem. Regular conversation, but all compliant, all recorded, and all searchable. The other thing is, in order to be notified, you can even set up browser notifications. Google Chrome, particularly, will do a pop-up. Even if you're not on the Redtail tab, it'll actually let you know when you have a browser notification. And then last but certainly not least, as we mentioned right here, you have the ability to set up for text message notifications. By adding your personal phone number and choosing to receive text messages, if you're not logged into the CRM, that is how you receive those text messages. The big thing I want you to remember about this is these are for notification only. Okay, you would still have to go into Speak to respond to the client. You're not going to reply to the notification directly through your text messaging. As we've already seen, whether it be in the public area or whether it be in a private conversation with a client, other staff members can join conversations with clients so they can help you collaborate if you're not available. The message that you receive, or actually more accurately, the message that the client receives always ends with a dash sender's name. So it's actually going to look like dash Ricky Redtail to Lewis. Lewis is always going to be informed of who the person is that sent that message, even though it's all coming from one phone number. So they're not confused and they're not thinking that everybody is that they're only talking to one person. They are going to be notified if someone else is talking to them, and it's all based around the usernames in your Redtail CRM. Now, one of the biggest things about making this compliant is making sure that it is archived, and all messages are archived in a worm compliant format. That is write once, read many. One of the really cool things is that they are automatically attached to the client record. So if I pull up Lewis Dobbs's record right here and actually click on his name, there is an area in the left navigation menu called Speak History. and we can go into that speak history and we can actually see all of the conversations that we had going all the way back to when we first started. All right. And that is all recorded here. That is all compliant. That is what makes Speak one of the first actual compliant messaging tools, is that it tracks a true compliant way of how those text messages were sent and received. It basically gives you that paper trail that you never had before. Now, I do want to mention that there is searching available within Speak as well. If we go ahead and we go back to our general area, we can actually click this little icon right here, and we can actually search for messages. So if I know I talked to somebody about buying like a Tesla, I can actually search for Tesla and see the conversations with Lewis that we had. Well, Lewis wants to buy a Tesla. And so we actually talked about that on the 6th. So you can search for words. You can even search for phrases. Like if I wanted to search for Model X, I can go ahead and type in Model X, and it's going to pull in a phrase as well. So it gives me the ability to search not only through the public rooms, but also the client rooms. The other thing I want to mention about that searching is if, let's say I'm the advisor and I'm talking with Kimmy, well, Jeremy is not going to have the ability to search my conversation with Kimmy. So these team meeting areas, these team chat rooms are secure from the other team members, but we are still making sure that they are recorded so that you can go back and that you can actually, refer to those notes later on. The last thing that I want to mention about the conversation is that anytime you want to leave a conversation, all you have to do is actually go in, and you have two icons up in the top right-hand corner. One actually has you disbanding the room. That basically means this particular conversation is ending for all parties, right? Now, you can always re-put that room together or reband the room, so to speak, but this would be for if we just need to end the conversation altogether. And then the other icon is leaving the conversation. If I just wanted to leave the room but keep the conversation going, this is exactly how you would do that. The same is true for any of these rooms as well. Like literally, instead of using those icons, you're just going to click that X to leave the room. As far as compliance goes, Redtail has built Speak to comply with the FINRA regulations for texting clients. And we do have the ability to journal messages to third parties for compliance. If audited, we can provide a full history of the messages that the audit is requiring. One of the biggest things that I want to mention before we wrap this conversation up is that you do want to make sure that you confirm with your compliance team before using Speak. Now, the one last thing that I want to mention is that Speak is being released in sort of a controlled rollout, kind of a early adoption phase, which means not all the features are there yet. We're still rolling out some new things, and we're also being very measured about how many people that we give access to this. So if you are interested in signing up for Speak, what you can do is you can reach out directly to our sales team via phone at 800-206-5030. And then option 2 for our sales team. You can let them know you want to be a part of Speak. We kind of have a little bit of a vetting process that we want to make sure that you go through before you get set up and get started using it. We're currently working with a lot of different broker dealers on making sure that this gets approved for their groups. Always, I would recommend going back to your broker dealer, asking if they have it approved yet. And if they haven't gotten approved yet, well, then give them a little conversation around how maybe you want them to have this be an approved piece of technology for you. But as far as Speak goes, that is the general introduction. That is the general how-to of how to utilize Speak. As usual, if you want to get started, if you want to get signed up, or if you have any questions, again, reach out to us via phone at 800-206-5030, and then option 2 for sales. Thank you so much for joining us today, and have a great one.